Hi, Terrence. I hope everything is okay and you guys are doing well. So, here's a quick little recording of what we covered yesterday in class. On our very first session, we talked about how we remembered our topic, which is September 11th. And we read this document together. We call this the background essay because it gives information of what happened on September 11th. For homework from the very first session, the students are supposed to answer these questions right here. And so it was just kind of like a summary of everything that was read in this background essay. Also, the things that were highlighted were these terms right here: World Trade Center, terrorist, Pentagon, and hijacker. And then yesterday in class, we started off with this one. It's a hook exercise to kind of give a student a preview of what our very first DBQ is about, which is what are important features in a memorial that honors three groups of people. And so we categorized all the people in our what we call primary sources into victims, survivors, and first responders. I gave students just like an overview of, you can see here, these are all what we call primary sources. They're actual pictures that are from the past and describe what each of the memorials are. They're a little out of order, right? But the one we read is document A, and so I'll go over that in a little bit. But here, on Google Classroom, this is under, so here's the stream, and then new assignment DBQ, how do we remember 9/11? So all the students have one. But then this is the doc, looks like this one. And so I had the students write right under that line of thesis statement. So it says thesis statement line, and then we started to write the introduction paragraph. And I had the students use the template of all of the blue dotted notes. And it's kind of like what all the students did in that background essay summary. That's, again, this one here. Oh, sorry. It's this one. Okay, so then the students were able to start to write their introduction paragraph. A lot of them didn't finish, and so I'm having them finish their homework, but just to go in sequence of that. The part of what was 9/11 and what happened, that's usually the longest part. And so I gave students kind of like a sentence opener frame of something along the lines of this. So on September, sorry, caps lock is on. To be a bright and sunny day. Then afterwards, students will start to finish like this very first introduction paragraph. They want to talk about what happened in 9/11 and then go in sequential order. What terrorism is, because we defined that in class, and then talk about what happened to the World Trade Center and how there was another plane that attempted to hit the Pentagon. The next part that was a little harder for students is this part right here, how there was 3,000 casualties and how there's positive and negative emotions at the same time of what happened with this part. The part that students don't have to write about is the thesis statement yet. We're going to actually do that at the very end after we analyze all the documents. So that's one part you can help Terrence with. I also told the students to try to use the background essay, which is, sorry, this one, to guide them. And I reminded them, hey, don't exactly copy everything. They can paraphrase, which means like every 4 words or so, they want to change the word. So a lot of them, for instance, they talked about on September 11th at 8:45 a.m., a plane crashed into the North Tower. And they copied that exactly. We don't want to copy it. That would be plagiarism. So you can say a plane collided into the North Tower of the World Trade Center. And so just to kind of rephrase it, in summary, like the very first introduction paragraph is much longer in a document-based question essay because it gives the historical impact and summary of what happened on that day. The next part you can teach Terrence is, let's see, this one. So we went over, this is document A, it's called Reflecting Absence, this one. And so, oops, sorry, you're gonna have to highlight with him these green keywords. And so I think at this point you can pause the video, have them highlight this, because here's why. I'm going to teach the kids how to source or use this phrase right here as textual evidence. I explained to them what ground zero meant. And then why do we have a source? What is that? The title of this document here is Reflecting Absence. the purpose was there's 2 large pools with waterfalls, and this one, White Rose waterfall blocks out traffic and construction noise. In class, we also discussed why is it significant and why do we have people's names etched in here? And some of the kids asked like, well, how do we know what happened to those people and how do we know those are the correct names to put in? So I talked about that too. And I also talked about the significance of water as a symbol and why it's waterfalls cascading into this part here. And so these first questions I didn't have the students do because it's so self-explanatory and it's very basic. But this part, I changed it up a little bit. So right here, I wanted them to do question 5, but space is too small. So I typed it up here. How does this memorial honor the victims? And so we talked about the idea of how water, it means tranquility, peace, new start, and it cleanses the heart, allows for people to have the opportunity to reflect and remember. The idea is that with water, it's so peaceful and calming that people have that space and time to be able to remember those that passed on. So that's something you can discuss with him. And then the last question that's on the next page, how does this memorial honor first responders? And also I taught the kids what first responders means and why it's very unfortunate in a sense, but very heroic at the same time that they gave their lives up. And so the significance of engraving and engraving here and how that makes it permanent on a panel. So people will always have that space and time to remember. And then next week, we will start to go over more documents and organize, not next week, in 2 weeks, we'll organize more of the documents into a graphic organizer. But for homework, I had the students finish up the introduction paragraph. So just do that part. No need to do thesis statement. That one will be with the kids later on. I'll teach them that. So hope everything is well and happy Thanksgiving. Okay, bye.